अरे आवाज आ रही है किसी को?
गुड मॉर्निंग भाई, आ रही है।
मॉर्निंग मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग भाई।
अरे गुड मॉर्निंग। कैसा रहा लेह का ट्रिप?
नहीं भाई, कश्मीर अभी वहां से पहलगाम आ गए हम लोग। यहाँ तो
सिर्फ तू ही चीपमेट कर रहा है, हम लोग तो बस बोर हो रहे हैं।
बहुत बर्फ है यार यहाँ
भाई लोग रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है।
वो हमेशा चलता है।
क्लास लगा रहा है यार अगला, और क्या करे इससे बताओ।
थोड़ी इधर उधर की बातें भी ना हो तो कैसे होगा?
शाम को घूमने जाता होगा, सुबह तो क्लास ही लगाता है।
भाई अटेंडेंस होगी है ना?
पता नहीं यार।
अभी नहीं हुई, अभी टाइम लगा अटेंडेंस में।
मजा
तो यार
नहीं
तो फिर मुझे बोलेंगे यू आर शेकिंग टू मच। सर आने वाले हैं।
रक्षित किसको बाजू में बिठा के क्लास करवा रहा है यार तू?
उसको फ्री में करवा रहा है एक्स्ट्रा।
ये पंकज कहाँ चल रहा है बस में?
पंकज भी जा रहा है कश्मीर।
चंडीगढ़ वापस।
हाँ
थोड़ी देर बाद जोबन भी शेकिंग में ही होगा।
ना भाई, मैं अटेंडेंस ला के निकलना।
सही गल है यार।
और दरजीत कैसे हैं आप?
अरे अच्छा हो भाई, कैसे हो?
ਦਰਜੀਤ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੂਨ ਤੇ ਸੀ, ਹੁਣ ਕਮਰੇ 'ਚ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਿਆ, ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ।
ਅਸੀਂ ਕੱਲ ਬੈਠੇ ਸੀ ਇਕੱਠੇ।
ਕੱਲ
ਮੈਂ
ਰਾਤ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਸੀ।
ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਸੋਨਾ ਲਿਖਾ ਹੀਗਾ।
Good morning to all of you.
गुड
ਸਤਿ
मॉर्निंग
ਸ਼੍ਰੀ अकाल
मैम।
मैडम जी।
मॉर्निंग से सिखा दो।
मैडम गुड मॉर्निंग।
Good morning, good morning. कैमरा ऑन कर लीजिए, कैमरा ऑन। कई लोगों का कैमरा ऑन नहीं है। अटेंडेंस तो बहुत अच्छी
कम आते हैं मैम कश्मीर में।
अच्छा, अटेंडेंस तो बहुत अच्छी जा रही है आप लोगों की। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी।
मैडम छुट्टी तो नहीं ना हुई हमारी कोई अभी तक?
किसी की हो ना
नहीं,
हुई
अभी नहीं हुई है। अभी सितंबर में पास आउट हो रहा है ना बैच, उसमें 2 बच्चों को क्लेंस नहीं मिल रही ड्यू टू शॉर्ट ऑफ अटेंडेंस।
नहीं, उन्होंने कम लगाई थी या फोन वोन से किया था उन्होंने मैडम?
नहीं, फोन उन्होंने कम नहीं लगाई थी, वो आए नहीं थे।
अच्छा अच्छा,
फोन
ठीक
फोन का चक्कर नहीं है यार, लॉगिन होना चाहिए।
हाँ, लॉग
चिंता मत करो, हमारी 102% अटेंडेंस होगी। हम ज्यादा कर लेंगे।
मैं बीच बीच में आती हूँ, आप लोगों को पता भी नहीं लगता कब आई कब चली गई।
नहीं मैम,
मैडम
हमको
बहुत
नोटिफिकेशन आ
तेज
जाती है।
आ जाती है।
हाँ जी मैम, इधर साइड में दिख जाता है आप आ गए।
और हमारे दोस्त भी अच्छे हैं, वो बता देते हैं, तो फिर हम लोग ध्यान रखते हैं ज्यादा।
और नहीं, दूसरी बात है, ये मेरा तो है ही सिस्टम, पर ऊपर जो आपकी टुकटुकी बज रही है, ऊपर जो लिखा हुआ आता है ना, ये सब नजर रखता है। कैमरा
हाँ जी
ऊपर
हाँ जी
आता है ना, मीटिंग वाला।
क्या
तो
कर
किसी
सकते
को भी अगर ऑफ लेना है, कुछ करना है, तो मुझे आप पहले नोट बताओगे। इससे क्या होता है कि एक सेफ साइड हो जाती है आप लोगों की। हाँ, अभी हम बता सकते हैं। थोड़ा सा हमारे पास भी होता है, राइट्स हमारे पास भी होते हैं। ठीक है
ठीक है मैम।
नहीं, फिर
हाँ,
तो मैडम
किसी की कोई
एब्सेंट ला
इमरजेंसी
देंगे।
होगी,
राइट
हाँ,
का दे
किसी को कोई
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ
इमरजेंसी
ਦੱਸ
होगी तो आप मुझे बोल सकते हैं कि थोड़ा सा इंस्टीट्यूट के पास भी राइट्स होते हैं।
ओके मैडम जी,
अभी
ओके।
तक फुल है ना मैम हमारी?
हाँ, 100% ठीक, बहुत अच्छे है।
भले भले भले, क्या बात है।
बढ़िया मैम,
और जम्मू कितना?
बढ़िया यार।
ठीक है, अभी
हो
किसका?
गया अटेंडेंस बंद कर दिए कैमरे?
हाँ, बंद कर दे जी, बंद कर दी।
बंद कर दी।
एक दिन तो मैम वेट कर रहे सारे, कैमरे बंद करा दी।
बाय बाय।
ओके गाइस।
मैं भाई पहलगाम।
पीछे बेड नहीं देता होटल का?
पीछे बेड लग रहा है, और क्या चाहिए?
अच्छा
वाला
कमरा
बेड लगेंगे।
मुझे लगा कर ली
ओ हो।
माय गॉड जम्मू,
भाई तेरी ज्वाइनिंग है, पक्का तेरी ज्वाइनिंग होनी है, तेरा बैग भी क्या सामने।
ਸਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ।
ਜੰਮੂ ਰੋਡ ਟ੍ਰਿਪ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਆ।
ਆਹ ਯਾਰ ਬੁੱਧਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਨਿਕਲੇ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ, ਮਤਲਬ ਲੇਹ ਲਦਾਖ ਤੋਂ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਰਸਤੇ, ਬਾਕੀ ਇਧਰ मतलब गुलमर्ग, पहलगाम, श्रीनगर ये सारा हो गया।
अच्छा अच्छा, कितने दिन का ट्रिप है आपका?
ये हो गए 5 nights।
ओह,
Why you are counting only nights? There is day also, no?
ओह बस ਅੱਜ ਨਿਕਲ ਰਹੇ हैं यार ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੱਗੇ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਕਨਵੇ ਚਲਦੀ ਆਰਮੀ ਦੀ ਨਾ ਜੰਮੂ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰ, ਮਤਲਬ ਜੰਮੂ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀਨਗਰ, ਉਹ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਰਸਤੇ, ਬੜਾ ਸਿਆਪਾ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਅੱਛਾ,
ਇਹ ਕਿ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਨਵੇ ਹੈਗੀ ਤੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਓ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਚਲੋ ਅੱਜ ਨਿਕਲ ਜੰਨੇ ਆ, ਨੇੜੇ ਰਸਤਾ ਵੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ।
ठीक है।
ਚਲੋ ਜੀ
ਚਲੋ ਕਰੋ ਕਰੋ, ਲਾਓ ਨਜ਼ਾਰੇ।
ਜੋਬਨ ਚੱਕ ਚਾਰਟਸ ਐਂਡ ਰੋਲਰ, ਚੱਲੀਏ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਈ। जो बनोगे माता मैंने चाह दे दो
Hello, beta. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. All well, beta. All well.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Beta, is the attendance done? Completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Great. So nice sunny day today. ओके सो बेटा हमारे दो टॉपिक और चार्ट वर्क में रहते हैं जो मैंने आपको लास्ट टाइम भी बताया था टिपिकल टॉपिक्स फिश ट्रायंगल एंड रेंडेवू सो आर वी रेडी फॉर ए फिश ट्रायंगल टुडे
Yes, sir. Hell ready for it.
ओके सो एज आई टोल्ड यू ये जो टॉपिक है दिस इज नॉट ए प्रैक्टिकल टॉपिक एट ऑल है ना सो लाइक ए वार्निंग आई एम गिविंग यू बिफोर दिस इज ए लॉन्ग टॉपिक इसमें हमारे काफ़ी सारे स्टेप्स आते हैं वी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम पॉइंट ए बी सी डी ई एफ जी एच आई जे के एल एम एन सो एन पॉइंट तक हम लोग जाएंगे इस टॉपिक को कवर करते हुए सो प्लीज़ बी पेशेंट और आपने ये स्टेप्स को धीरे धीरे देखते चले जाना है एंड दीज स्टेप्स हैव टू बी मेमोराइज्ड ये आपको याद करने पड़ेंगे यू कैन नॉट थिंक अबाउट दिस मेथड in the examination hall and do it logically okay this cannot be logically thought of so हमें ये steps
हो जाएगा
हाँ बोलो बेटा
एक क्लास में कंप्लीट हो जाएगा ये टॉपिक
let's try maybe little bit of overspill we can finish off in the next class so let me straight away go to it and we will try to see it
okay sir
give me a
क्वेश्चन पूछना था आपसे
हाँ बोलो बेटा
सर ये जो है हमने किया था वी वर्टिकल सेक्सटेंट एंगल
राइट बेटा
उसमें जो है हमें हाइट दी हुई है लाइट हाउस की मान लीजिए एक क्वेश्चन जो आपका असाइनमेंट में था उसमें तो लाइट हाउस की हाइट दी हुई है फिर हमें हमारे लेकिन हाइट ऑफ आई भी दे रखी है मतलब तो फिर उसका कहीं यूज है हाइट ऑफ आई का या कहीं यूज नहीं है
बेटा वर्टिकल सेक्सटेंट एंगल में नो यूज बिकॉज हमारे हाइट ऑफ आई से जो वर्टिकल एंगल है लाइट हाउस का उसमें कोई एप्रिशिएबल डिफरेंस नहीं आता है
ठीक
बिकॉज वीएसए के फॉर्मूले में कहीं भी हमको हाइट ऑफ आई नहीं मिलती है राइट बट जियोग्राफिकल रेंज जब हम निकालेंगे देन इट इज ए वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग
जी
राइट okay so let me start off with the presentation give me a minute I'll set it up So let's proceed with our topic for this presentation, the fish triangle question. In this question, 3 bearings of different objects are provided to us with the current direction, but no rate. So this is a specific question in which the direction of current is provided but the rate of current is not provided. 3 bearings of different objects are given to us. Let us see the question in detail now. Now, before we proceed with the fish triangle topic, the question as well as the procedure, I would like to familiarize you with a few things which are specific to this particular topic. One, this is a new topic for you. This topic is not there in the second mate syllabus. So this is going to be a new concept for you. So any new concept which we go into will require a little bit more effort and more time for it to be understood. So we will slowly proceed ahead with this topic step by step, understanding the concept. Now, the second thing related to this topic is that this is not a practical concept. What do I mean by not a practical concept? I mean that in actual navigation on board the bridge of a ship, I very much doubt that you will ever use this method for position fixing purpose. I have never used it, and the question is such that it is not at all practical to be used on the bridge. Now, the next question which comes to our mind is then why it is being done. The simple answer to that is this topic appears in the exam. It has come in past papers. So there is a probability of it appearing again in the MMD papers which are going to come. So that is why just to pass our exams, we need to be well familiar with this topic so as not to lose the marks allotted to it. So that's the basic reason. Now, many a times when you scroll or browse through social media posts, you come across some posts. When you try to open them and read them, you see in the beginning, they give you an alert, warning, long post ahead. So that tells you that the post is lengthy and you will have to spend some time to read it. So something similar related with this method also. Till now, the methods which we have done, they were not as lengthy as this method is. Let's say, for example, you have a vertical sextant angle. You apply the formula, you get the radius, and you plot the position circle on the chart. Or you have a reciprocal bearing or a transit bearing. You plot it on the chart and you get a position line. These are single step procedures, single step methods. But this method involves a lot of steps, and these steps need to be memorized. Their sequence need to be memorized, and we need to follow these steps to get to the solution. So it is going to be a lengthy topic. So I'm just preparing you beforehand so that you are aware. We will have to give attention to each and every step to reach up to the end. Another important thing when we go into this topic, we need to memorize the steps. As I told you, there are multiple steps in this method. We need to memorize these steps and we need to follow the same sequence when we are going to the or getting or plotting the solution in the exam. You need to know these steps beforehand. So that is the meaning of that you have to memorize these steps. What is to be done to get to the answer? It is not possible that you read this question out and you think what could be the solution. You plot it on the chart, you look at the information, and your mind or brain comes up with the solution. It will not be possible because it is quite tricky and complicated. You need to know the steps beforehand for you to be able to solve this question. So when we solve this question in the example, you need to carefully look at the steps, and all these steps should be memorized. Every step we will be identifying certain positions. Like first step, we identify position A, then B, then C, D, E, F, and so on. And there are quite a lot of positions. going up to Mike and November, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. So these are the steps involved. So just making you mentally prepared for the procedure which is going to come ahead. Now, another doubt which may arise in your mind is about the name of this method. The name looks a little funny, that is fish triangle. So just to tell you, this is not a concept or a name, official name given to this particular technique. It is just a slang name being used to identify this particular question. Why we have given it the name as fish triangle? It is basically related to the fishes which we used to make when we were kids in our drawing classes. So the teacher explains to you how a fish can be created by making triangles. Now our plot here for this particular question looks something similar to those fishes which we used to make. So that is from where the name fish triangle comes in. It has got nothing to do with fishes as such. And this concept also is, I would say, not a chart work concept per se. The concept is that some geometric principle has been used to solve the items which we require to find. So it involves geometry principles, geometrical concept, and using those concepts, we are able to fix up the ship's positions. If it is not practical, how has it landed into the MMD exams? Basically, somebody has made up these questions and they have put it in the past papers. Now, once a question appears in past papers, there is a high probability that it will also appear in the papers, future papers which are going to come. Many a times questions are just picked up from past papers and repeated in the future papers also. So that gives it a high probability of getting repeated again. So with all these things in our mind, let us now go into this method, see what all information is provided to us. We will see a sample question, and then we will go on to the chart to see how do we plot it, what are the steps involved, and how do we get to our answer. Let me first show you what all data is provided in these type of questions. We are given 3 bearings of either 2 or 3 objects. The time interval between these 3 bearings is given to us. The observation times of all the 3 bearings are provided to us. The compass course or the true course being steered by the ship is also given. Engine speed is provided to us. The direction of the current is provided to us. And if wind is present in that area, the direction of wind as well as the leeway angle is provided to us. So this is all the information which is given in the question. And what are we required to find out? We are required to find out the ship's position at the time of these 3 bearings, these 3 observations. We need to find the course made good and the speed made good. And we also need to find the rate of the current. So this is a specific question where the rate of current is intentionally not given to us. Many a times students have difficulty in identifying these questions. So this is a very good indicator for identifying the question. If the rate of current is not given to you and you need to find it out, then the probability, the chances are it is a fish triangle question. The second identification which you can have here is that the 3 bearings which are provided to you are from either 2 or 3 objects. Now, basis this information, let me show you a question based on the fish triangle concept. We have an example question here. The vessel observed the bearing of Duna Breton Lighthouse as 350 true at 1000 hours. The same light bore 325 at 1024 hours, and at 1100 hours, Brownstone Lighthouse bore 010. The vessel was steering a course of 080 true with a speed of 12 knots. The current in the area set 130. We have to find the vessel's position at the time of the three observations, the three bearings, the course made good, the speed made good, and the rate of the current. So you can see here, they have given us three bearings, 1000 hours, 1024 hours, and 1100 hours from two different points. The first two bearings are given from Duna Breton Lighthouse. The third bearing is given from Brownstone Lighthouse. The course steered, engine speed is given. The set of the current is given, and rate of current is required to be found out. So let's proceed ahead. Before I open up the chart and we start the plotting, let me clarify one more doubt which may sometimes arise in your mind. Now, this question looks very much similar to another question, which is 3-point bearing. In this 3-point bearing question, we are again given three bearings at different times. And in the fish triangle question, we have seen just now, the three bearings are given to us. So what is the difference between these two type of questions? In a 3-point bearing questions, all the three bearings are given to us using a single reference point, a lighthouse or any other object. A single reference point is used for all the three bearings. However, in fish triangle, the three bearings are taken from either two different points, or it could be three different points. Like in this example question which we have seen, the first two bearings are taken from one lighthouse. The second bearing is taken from, the third bearing is taken from a different lighthouse. So that helps you to easily identify the fish triangle from a 3-point bearing question. All the bearings given from a single point, a 3-point bearing method is to be used. Bearings given from different points, usually it will be a fish triangle question. So this is what we have discussed just now. The bearings are from two or three different objects and not a single object as in the 3-point bearing. Now, second important thing to identify this question is, as I mentioned to you before also, the rate of the current is not given in these questions. And in fact, it is one of the items which we are required to find out. So with these two points in your mind, you should be able to easily identify it from a 3-point bearing question. Now you see the same question on the screen. Vessel observed the bearing of Duna Breton Lighthouse as 350 at 1000 hours. It was 325 at 1024 hours and 1100 hours. The Brownstone Lighthouse bore 010. Vessel steering a course of 080 at a speed of 12 knots. Current is setting 130. We have to find the vessel's position at the time of three bearings, CMG, SMG, and the rate of the current. So let's now open up the chart of the area and see the steps involved one by one. I have the chart on the screen now. Let's first of all identify the two lighthouses in our case. This is the first lighthouse which we have, the Duna Britain lighthouse. And this is the second lighthouse which we have, that is the Brownstone lighthouse. So these are the two objects used for giving us the bearings. Now in the first step, we will plot these three bearings on the chart. The first bearing is 350 at 1000 hours. So let's name the object, both the lighthouses, as O. I plot my first bearing line on the chart. The bearing is 350 and it was taken at 1000 hours. So I mark it with the time. And let's name this bearing line as OX. You can see X is marked here. The first bearing line we have plotted on the chart as OX. Now let's plot the second bearing line. The second bearing is 325 and it was taken at 1024. So from the same lighthouse, a bearing line of 325 taken at 1024. Let's name this as OY. So you see point Y mentioned here. We have the second bearing line plotted on the chart as OY. Let's plot the third bearing now. The third bearing is 010 and it's from Brownstone Lighthouse. So from this particular light, a bearing of 010 is plotted on the chart. This was taken at 1100 hours. So we mention the time with the bearing. And let's name this bearing line as OZ. So you see the point Z marked here. And with this, we have the three bearings, the three position lines plotted on the chart. Now with the three PLs on our chart, the three position lines plotted on the chart, we move on to our next step. In the next step, we have to take any arbitrary point of our choice on the first bearing line. So let's take a particular point. I have taken point A at this location. This point can be taken at any location at any position, but it should be on the first bearing line OX. So any point on OX. So in our case, we have taken this point A here. Now from this point A, I will plot or draw my course steered. The course steered is given to me. The vessel is steering a course of 080. So from point A, I draw my course steered. You can see the course steered line on the chart now. Now, wherever this course steered line meets my third PL, 1100 PL OZ. Now let's identify and name that point as B. So I have the B point on the chart. AB line is in the same direction as my course steered, which is 080. I have marked it with a single arrow since this is my course steered. Now we move on to the next point. I have to now calculate my engine distance in the time interval between the first bearing, that is 1000 hours, and the second bearing, that is 1024 hours. So as per my engine speed is given to me as 12 knots. I have to find out how much engine distance will I cover between 1000 and 1024. So I find out my engine distance for 24 minutes. And once I have this engine distance with me, I will mark this engine distance on this line AB. So keeping my compass centered at point A, the compass is open to a radius equal to my engine distance in 24 minutes, and I cut off the line AB. I will get a point here, and let's name that point as C. So AC, the length of AC is equal to the engine distance covered between 1000 hours and 1024 hours. That is the engine distance covered between the first observation and the second observation. Now what I do is I find out my engine distance for the time interval between the second PL, that is 1024, and the third PL, that is 1100 hours. So for this particular question, it gives me a time interval of 36 minutes. I calculate my engine distance for 36 minutes. And now I will mark off this engine distance again on this line AB, now with reference to point B. So I open up my compass equal to the engine distance for 36 minutes, that is 1024 to 1100 hours. I center my compass at point B and I mark off a point here on line AB. Let's name that point as D. You can see this delta point here. Now delta Bravo is my engine distance for 36 minutes. This 36 minute is the time interval between the second observation and the third observation. Second observation was at 1024, third observation is at 1100 hours, difference is 36 minutes, and the delta Bravo distance represents this 36-minute distance. So we have the Charlie and delta points on our course steered line, that is line AB. Moving further on our plot, we have these two reference points on our chart now, that is Charlie and delta. Now what I'm going to do is I have to draw a line parallel to my first PL. My first PL is OX. I have to draw a line parallel to OX, which should pass from point C. So I will align my parallel ruler, set square or sliding ruler, whatever tool is being used, with the line OX and transfer it to point C to draw a parallel line. You can see this parallel line passing from point C plotted on the chart. Let's name this line as TPL1. Just a reference name given to this line for easy identification. So TPL1 line is parallel to my first PL, that is OX, and it passes through point C, which we identified in our last step. Now we do the same thing with our third position line. We have to draw a line parallel to our third PL, that is OZ, which passes from point D, delta point. So delta point has already been identified in the previous step. So I align my parallel ruler with the third PL OZ and transfer it to point D. You can see this parallel line. This line, which is there on the chart now, is parallel to my final PL, that is OZ, and it passes from point delta. Let's name this line as TPL3. So this is again a reference name given to this particular line for easy identification. Once you have these two lines plotted on the chart, you will see that these lines will intersect at a particular point. As you can see, these lines are intersecting at this particular point here on the chart. Let's name this point. Let's name this point as E, echo point. So we have this echo point identified on the chart where TPL1 and TPL3 are intersecting. Now moving on to the next step. I know the direction of my current. The set of my current is 130. So I have to draw a line from point Charlie in this direction. So the direction of my current is 130. So I align my parallel ruler to 130, bring it to point C and draw a line. So you see this red color line on the plot on the chart. This line starts from Charlie, starts from point C, and the direction of this line is the set of the current which is given to us in the question. So in this case, the set is 130. So this particular red color line is in direction 130. Now this line, when you plot it on the chart, is going to meet the TPL3 at a certain point. So this will meet TPL3 at a certain point. Let's name this point as F. So you can see F point on the chart now. Now at this point, let me remind you that we do not have the rate of the current known to us or the drift of the current known to us. We don't have this information. This is one of the items which we need to find out. So this line CF does not represent the drift of the current. So its length is unknown as of now. It is useful or it is required in our plot. So be clear in the mind that this CF line does not represent the drift of the current. Once we have this point F on the plot, we move on to our next step. From this point F, now we plot our course steered. Our course steered is given to us. It is 080. The AB line also represents the course steered direction. So I align my parallel ruler to 080, take it to point F and draw my course steered direction. So from point F, you can see the course steered direction. Now this particular line will again meet my third PL, OZ, at a certain point. Let's name this point as G. So we have the G point in our plot. I have marked it with a single arrow since this is the course steered. Moving on to the next step now. Once this G point is obtained in the plot, now we have to join our initial point alpha with this point G. So alpha to golf is what we are going to join now. So let's draw the line. So you can see this line joining alpha to golf. Be clear in your mind that this line is not our course made good line or anything else. This is just a line which we have drawn following the stepwise procedure. The course made good will be found out little later. So at this point of time, this line does not represent anything. It will be useful to us to complete the plot. It is required to complete the plot. Now what we do is, this alpha golf line which we see on the chart, this alpha golf line cuts our current direction line, that is CF line, at a particular point. You can see that intersection point here. Let's identify and name this point as H. So we have the H point identified on our plot now. Moving further on our plot, we have this H point identified. Now what we do is, we had the echo point already identified on our plot where TPL1 and TPL3 intersected. So now we are going to join the H point with this intersection point E. So you can see this dotted line marked on the chart, which is joining the H point with the E point. Now this dotted line, HE, Hotel Echo line, is also known as a ratio line. So this is HE dotted line, the ratio line, which is on our plot now. Moving further, when we have this HE line plotted on the chart, you will see that this HE line is going to intersect our middle bearing. Our middle bearing is OY. The middle bearing is already plotted on the chart. You will see that this HE line is going to intersect our middle bearing at a particular point. So this is the point where the HE line is intersecting with our middle bearing. Let's identify and name this point as J point, Juliet point. So we have the Juliet point marked on the chart. Now after Juliet, moving further on our plot, we move on to our next step. From this Juliet point, I draw a line in the direction of the current. The direction of the current is given to me. It is 130. The set or direction of the current is 130. So I align my parallel ruler to 130, transfer the parallel ruler to point J, Juliet point, and draw a line here. You can see this red color line on our chart, plotted on our chart, which is in the direction of 130. That is the direction of our current. Now this line which we have drawn is intersecting TPL1 and TPL3 at two specific points. So let's identify these points also. The point where it intersects or touches TPL1, let's name that as K. So you can see the K point, kilo point on the plot, and the point where this current direction line touches the TPL3, let's name this as point L. So you can also see point L on the plot. So we have reached up to point K and L, both these points identified in our plot. Now coming on to the next step, what we are going to do is, we will align our parallel ruler to the course steer direction, which is represented by the AB line on our plot, or FG line, Foxtrot Golf line. Both of them represent the course to steer. The course to steer here is 080. So we align our parallel ruler to our course steered 080, bring it to point K and draw our course steered in the reverse direction. So from K, drawing our course steered in the reverse direction, you can see it on the chart. The blue color line is our course steered. This line is going to meet our first PL, our first bearing line at a certain point. Let's name that point as M. So you can see the M point on our plot. Let's mark this vector with a single arrow. Since it represents course steered, we mark it with a single arrow. Moving on to the next step now. I keep my parallel ruler aligned with my course steered, that is 080 direction, and now transfer it to point L. So from point L, I'm going to draw a course steered line in the ahead direction. So from point L in the direction 080, I have drawn my course steered vector. It touches my third position line OZ at a certain point. Let's name that point as N, November point. You can see that point on our plot now on the chart. This line L to N is in the direction of our course steered, that is 080, and I have marked it with a single arrow. So we have reached up to point November. What we are going to do now is we are going to join M and N, Mike to November. So you can see this green color line, which is joining Mike to November. Now with this green color line, we complete our plot. This green color line, Mike to November, represents our course made good vector from 1000 hours to 1100 hours. So MJN, Mike Juliet November, is my course made good. It also represents my distance made good in this interval. And point M, which we have here, is my initial position at 1000 hours. Point J, which I have here, is my position at the time of middle bearing, that is 1024 hours. Point N, which I have here, represents my third position at the time of my final position line at 1100 hours. So Mike, Juliet, and November are the three positions of the vessel at the time of three position lines, or at the time of three observations. Also, vector K to L, vector K to L represents the drift of the current from 1000 hours to 1100 hours. So from this drift K to L, you can also easily calculate what is the rate of the current now. Once we know the drift value and we know the time interval, we can easily calculate the rate of the current. Now, if you look carefully, the first triangle which we have, Mike, Kilo, Juliet, is the triangle for the first 24 minutes, 1000 hours to 1024 hours. Mike to Kilo is my CTS vector for 24 minutes. Kilo to Juliet is my current vector for 24 minutes. And Mike to Lima is my CMG vector for 24 minutes. And if you see the Juliet, Lima, November triangle which we have, is the triangle for 36 minutes, that is from 1024 to 1100 hours. So Juliet to November is my CMG for 36 minutes. Juliet to Lima, the red color side, represents the set and drift of the current for 36 minutes. And Lima to November is the CTS for 36 minutes. This completes the solution of the fish triangle question. So we have all the three positions known to us. We have the rate of the current known to us. We have the course made good and the distance made good, as well as the speed made good. So all the items which were required, that is vessel's position at the time of the three bearings, the course made good, the speed made good, and rate of the current have been identified. So beta, have a good look at this plot and let me know any doubts which are coming in your mind.
Sir, full of doubt, but can you give us one day to go through the video again and have I would like to play it from the beginning. I will save it.
Sure, beta. Yes. Please do that. Please play it, watch it once, twice, thrice. Okay. Keep on noting down your doubts, and once we meet in our next lecture, let me know. We will clarify all the doubts.
ठीक है sir, ठीक है.
Okay, so we just managed to finish it off just in time. 2 minutes left to our session ending. So shall I close it now?
Yes, sir, you can save the recording. I will save it here on my laptop and I will see it today evening nicely.
Right, Peter, right. Just give me a minute. Okay, so that's all for this lecture, beta. Go through this topic. As I told you, this is a little heavy topic to understand. So a lot of high-tech geometry involved in it, but you don't need to bother about the geometry. Just remember the steps, and if this question comes, you follow it A, B, C, D up to N, and you get the answer. So anyway, watch this and note down your doubts, and we will sort out all your doubts in the next lecture. So till then, bye-bye.
Okay, sir. Bye-bye, sir. Thank you.
Okay, beta. Okay.